So tonight was, as you know, Extreme Rules, and I think along with other people thought, okay, this pay-per-view is not going to be that good. It's not going to be that entertaining. It's ironic how it's called Extreme Rules, when really we have maybe what, two matches in the card that might be, I guess, somewhat related to Extreme on the main event. Scheduled as Extreme, and I'll get that later. And of course, you have the steel cage match, but everything else is just like, okay, this feels like any like non-gimmicky pay-per-view. It doesn't feel like ugh. But you guys know me. I usually like to talk about the pre-show a little bit, and I'll talk about it for very briefly. You had the WLC match between El Carrito and Hornswoggle, and at first I was like, what in the blue hell is a WLC match? And I guess it was basically like a tables match, basically. I didn't understand this, but anyways, um, believe it or not, this was a decent match. It was actually somewhat entertaining, and it was actually quote unquote extreme. Yes, they're obviously at the whole comedy thing. They had a bunch of midgets in the ring and everything, but you cut the midget part out of it. Just pretend they're like normal. They're just regular sized people. It was a good match. It wasn't bad at all. That's the surprising part. But anyways, lots of surprising parts getting on to this show. But so we had the opening match, on the official card, the triple threat elimination match between Rob Van Dam, Cesaro, and Jack Swagger. Now, I kind of, you know, I didn't make my Raw review this past Monday because due to technical difficulties and I had school and everything. But freaking, when the hell have you ever heard? Get this, a triple threat elimination style match, and it being for nothing. No title, no stipulation to it. Not like, oh, so and so is number one contender, so and so is get the manager, so and so becomes champion. No, it's just we're just fighting. But that being said, the predictable part was Swagger's being the first one eliminated, but overall, pretty good match. Not a bad start to this pay-per-view really between at the time was RVD and Cesaro, and RVD is going to 5-star frog splash. Cesaro moves out of the way, gets some neutralizer, 1, 2, 3. And Cesaro beats, wins the match. So, as you can see, Cesaro's getting that, little rub, that little push, basically. And, I think he deserves it. Uh, very talented superstar. And, obviously, him being a Paul Heyman guy, you think that, he's going to go far, at least for a little while. And, I'm just getting tired of the whole my client Brock Lesnar ended the Undertaker streak and defeated and conquered the streak. Hey, managing freaking Cesaro, alright? Lesnar ain't coming back to like SummerSlam probably, alright? Just chill, Paul. Anyways, and you had probably the most boring match of the night, and I think a lot of people saw this coming. Alexander Rusev versus R-Truth and Xavier Woods, and again, my God, Lana. Oh God. Stacey Keebler got nothing. Freaking people always talk about Stacey Keebler with the legs. Freaking look at Lana. To me, in my opinion, Lana has better legs than Stacey Keebler. That's for another story. Another asset. Going here. Seriously though. Yeah. So he had R-Truth and Xavier Woods versus Alexander Rusev. And you had the typical USA chant. Rusev just freaking crushed everybody. You know what I mean? Just, whatever. I don't know what to say, because freaking, I'm not into Russo, alright? I'm one of those people that see Russo and I'm like, lucky you got a hot manager. That's actually talented, alright? Otherwise, we keep shit about you, so. And I get that's what WWE's point. They probably know, okay, we don't give about him, crap about him. Oh, let's put him with freaking, Lana. Oh, now we care. Somewhat. So next we have some bad news. We had Bad News Barrett versus Big E for the Intercontinental Championship, and not a bad match, from these two guys. I think, I still find both these guys kind of underrated, when it comes to their talents. And I think Big E is pretty, athletic, pretty decent in the ring, and we all know how Wade Barrett, aka Bad News, Barrett can do inside the ring. So overall, it wasn't too bad of a match. You know, Barrett hits his elbow on Big E. 1, 2, 3. You winner and new Intercontinental Champion, Bad News Barrett. And I believe this is the second time Wade Barrett's been Intercontinental Champion. The first time, oh god, Ezekiel Jackson. No. But, you know, hopefully this time around will be better. You know, maybe, and I talked about this on Twitter, like maybe Barrett will bring a tiny bit more prestige to the IC title. I'm not saying Big E didn't, you know, he just didn't defend it a lot, but, we'll see. So next you had a match that I actually thought was going to main event this show. I really did. Because of the freaking egos that were in this match. And I'm talking about Gadda and Randy Orton, Batista, aka Evolution, versus the Shield. And as you could probably expect, this dream match, I guess you could say dream fantasy match, whatever you want to call it, it was a good solid match. Probably, I would say match of the night, but you know, there's a little something later on for that. But overall, this was, you know, at some points it wasn't even so much of a match. It was just more of a fight and a brawl. And I'm not complaining at all, especially when you have a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules. You know, even though there wasn't, you know, any weapons used really in this match, they were fighting all over the place. Kind of, you know, at one point, you know, Randy Orton and Batista are in the crowd or whatever, and Seth Rollins just flying out of freaking nowhere and tucks on both of them. I'm like, dude. You know, and it's just like WWE is just doing a fantastic job making the Shield look like $1 million right now, basically. You know, and it's doing good things for them. So, you know, anyways, later on in the match, you know, Batista goes to Batista bomb on Roman Reigns. Reigns gets out of the way, hits his little Superman punch. I thought they were on Samoan punch, but then like they're like, oh, we're getting copyright for Superman punch. Anyways, he goes and hits the spear. 1, 2, 3. Shield win. Batista have fun in Hollywood. So yeah, but overall, it was still a very good match. I enjoyed it a lot. And then became the match that was like, okay, on paper this could be good, but this is like one of those matches. Is like on paper it looked good. The results, I guess, technically was good, but this was just a cluster. What the hell was this? The steel cage match between and Mr. He's got the whole world in his hands, Bray Wyatt. And what the hell was this? Alright, last time I checked, the whole steel cage concept, this was just like freaking, oh my god, this was like at SummerSlam. Remember when freaking Bray Wyatt raced Kane in the Ring of Fire match? You know, and the whole point was to make sure that the Wyatt family, you know, Rowan and Harper would not interfere. This was like that. The whole point of the steel cage is like, okay, you prevent people from interfering inside the match. You get to the door, open the cage, whatever. What the hell? Because within like freaking 5 minutes, next thing you know, oh, there's Harper and the Ring, there's Harper Reigns, Harper and Rowan. Like, what the hell? Like, this was just okay. The match itself, if you look at it at some point, it wasn't too bad. I'm not saying it was a horrible match, it was a bad match. It was just overbooked. Like, what the hell? And then when freaking John Cena's like, walking out of the cage, you know, the classic, you know, pops up, and here comes a little kid singing, John Cena's like, oh, and the freaking Bray Wyatt hits the Sister Abigail, and he just walks out of the cage. And I'm thinking, the hell? Like, I know freaking Vince Russo is in TNA, but you sure he didn't sneak a script into this? Because this reads freaking Vince Russo all over again. Because what the hell? This was just overbooking to the max. You know, he could have just had simply, okay, maybe a couple of times you have Roman and Harper outside the cage trying to distract Cena. That's all fine and dandy. I understand that. But what the hell? They had to bring a freaking kid in the way. Like, technically, you needed 3 people to beat John Cena. 3. 4 if you include Bray Wyatt himself. 4 people to beat John Cena. God. Strikes again. Anyways, after that cluster, you move on to the Divas title match between Tamina versus Paige. And, not too long of a match, typical Divas match, not that long, but overall, I think a better match than what I expected from these two, because I remember them having a match on NXT, I believe it was like a year or two ago, and they just had a bad match. I mean, Tamina, I think it was just like, because Paige's offense is so much like aggressive and everything. She's a little bit more fast paced. While Tamina can be built up and strong and aggressive. The problem with her is she's slow as molasses in a goddamn igloo. She's just like power slam. Mm. You know what I mean? It's like what the hell, like. But she looked good, in this match, meaning like strength-wise, because obviously Tamina being strong and tall, and Paige kind of being a little shorter and not so strong, but her quickness and everything worked well, and obviously Paige, you know, winning after the Scorpion crosswalk, and I'm really digging that submission move. Excuse me, submission move by Paige, the Scorpion crosswalk. It's really cool. I'm not gonna lie, I've never really seen that move before until Paige started using it, so I'm really digging it. So not bad. So now we go to the main event. No, God was not in it. Extreme Rules match. Go figure. We finally pay-per-views called Extreme Rules. You finally have an Extreme Rules match. I know it sounds like I'm shitting this pay-per-view, even though it's actually pretty damn good. Kane versus Daniel Bryan for WWE Championship, and everyone on Twitter was like freaking out. Oh my God, Daniel Bryan's coming up first. And I literally make a joke. I was like, what is this, WWE 2K14? Like when the champions in the match, in the title match, he has to come up first. But this was crazy. Like, this was insane. Alright, for a match that literally everyone sat there going, oh cool, Kane versus Daniel Bryan. Who gives a shit? This was actually a pretty good, entertaining match. This was, in some way, I don't want to be stretching it because I know people are going to bash me for this. If you don't bash me, look at my freaking icon. But, like, this kind of felt kind of like an Attitude Era kind of a brawl, hardcore match sort of deal. Except obviously not like, Falls Count Anywhere. You take that out of it, but it's pretty much like a hardcore match. These guys were fighting all over the place. They're fighting backstage, they're fighting in the parking lot, they're fighting in the crowd, fighting on the, this is stage, I think it's stage. The ramp, obviously inside the ring, near the announce table. It was just crazy all over the place. I mean, it was just a lot of good spots between these guys, and you could tell that they have great chemistry with each other. And it was just like, it made you think, okay, despite Kane obviously being older, and you think somewhere down the road he has to retire, but he still got it in some sort of way. He does still have it. And I know people are gonna be like, oh no, Daniel Bryan made him look good. Someone's gonna say that. Not, and you guys know me, I like Daniel Bryan. Anyways, at one point you had the table being set on fire, and I was thinking in my head like freaking Joe Styles out of nowhere screaming, "Oh my God!" and like out of freaking nowhere. But freaking Daniel Bryan puts him through the table, and next thing you know, 1, 2, 3, Daniel Bryan retained, and then Kane got back up, and this is when people started ranting on Twitter. Oh my God! LOL. WTF? Why is Kane getting back up? No selling. LOL. Do you guys remember the game we used to love? The guy could be like ran over by like 18 freaking trucks, thrown off a cliff, tossed into space, take about 5 overall freaking laps around it, and get sunk down the ocean along the Titanic, and you bring him up just to see if he has a pulse, and he'll get up within 2 seconds. Alright, this is the same guy that just got up after like anything. Alright, he's a big red monster. He's not supposed to be human. But, and of course at the end they had the whole, stare down between Kane and Daniel Bryan and well, payback. So, and plus with that, it kind of continues the feud, even though WWE would make sense. Obviously, you have Daniel Bryan win again or something. But, anyways, above all, very good pay-per-view by WWE. I don't know what's up with WWE Extreme Rules pay-per-view. They just end up being good. Like I'm dead serious. They're usually good. Hell, they're usually better than WrestleMania. And I know a lot of people like this past WrestleMania. I thought it was good, decent. I thought this Extreme Rules pay-per-view was a tad bit better than WrestleMania, so, overall I enjoyed the pay-per-view. It wasn't too bad. So what do you guys think about Extreme Rules? Anyways, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comments, you know what to do. Later.